Hey, morning everyone. Nice to see all of you here today. Thank you for joining in and thank you for your patience. You guys can switch on your video camera if you like. Okay, so why are we here? Right? We're here to learn something new, learn something interesting, or something that we're passionate about. Right? And that is the essence of Enlightened Sapiens. We are a community that encourages you to grow and learn, but learn about the things that make you happy so that when you're ready, you can give back with this knowledge, thus creating a self sustaining society. Someone else does not have to go through the same struggles and the same problems you did to gain that knowledge. And today, we have Sachin Purswani, who wishes to give back with his knowledge on running. Hey Sachin, good morning.
Good morning. Good morning,
Okay,
Karan. And
so for those of you, many of you may have heard the term marathon and half marathon and dream run. So a marathon is 42 kilometers, correct? So what Sachin does and has participated in is a thing called ultra marathon. That is a format which is more than 42 kilometers. He's participated in the 90-kilometer run at Comrades in South Africa and is currently training for the Dubai Ironman 70.3, which is a 1.9 kilometer swim, a 90 kilometer bike ride, and a 21 kilometer run. Is right, Sachin?
yeah, that's correct.
So he's of course well versed and comfortable with the long format, but he's graced us with his presence today to help all of us get into running. He's going to take us to the basics and the basics do's and don'ts of running. It's a very interactive session, guys. So I'd like you to use the chat box because I can collate all the questions. We have only 1 hour, so if there are common questions, we can present it to Sachin together and use the raise hand button. There's a raise hand button next to your name on the participants list. So if you use the raise hand button, Sachin can take your question and interact with you as well. He'll be taking us through certain topics, and we'll be stopping for questions, but we'll keep most of the questions towards the end of the session so that he can complete what he set out to do. All right. So yes, again, if you want, you can switch on your video camera so Sachin can help you better. But without further ado, Sachin, over to you.
Okay. So thanks very much, Karan, for setting this up, and a good morning to everyone. And thank you to all of you for registering and sparing time on a weekend to follow your passion. Okay. Now, I would just like to state that this is a primer to get you started into running. But yes, if there are questions around ultra marathon running and marathons and Ironman, I'm happy to take it. Okay. I am myself a 45-year-old guy. Okay. And I started running only 5 years ago. Okay. So anybody has any myths around, can I start now? Is it too late? Is it too early in life? No, you can start anytime in life. Okay. So if you are watching the presentation, Karan, have you already started?
Yes, I mean that's up to you how you'd like to take it forward. You can, yeah.
Okay. No, so before we get on to the presentation, so first things in life, never think that something is impossible and it's never too late. Okay. I have seen this across things, not just running as a sport. Become entrepreneurs at the age 56. Okay. So never ever think that it's too late in life. You can start whenever you want, provided yes you have the necessary requisites in place. Okay, now we'll go through this in our presentation as to what are the basics that you need to take care of before you get started in running, and what is the bare minimum that you need to get started in running. So there will be people who will tell you buy this, buy that. It's like going to a gym, and when you go there, everybody says, oh, you should buy that t-shirt, you should buy that bag, you should buy this equipment, you should buy that. But all of it, is it required on day one? No, maybe not. Okay, so we'll go to that, okay, as we progress into this session.
I'm going to share the PPT
Yeah, yeah.
and we can start. Okay.
Okay. Okay, so I love this line about why do people run? Okay, uh, it's not about adding years to your life. So many people take up running because they want to extend their lifespan. Okay, I would rather see it rather have a better quality of life till my last breath. Okay, so running does that to you. Okay, running does that to you. So when you start running, you start realizing that there's so many things you never thought about. Okay, and this usually happens to people who run alone. Okay, they get time. So if you go to the next slide, you will see what happens to you when you start running. Okay, it will allow you me time. You will be totally uninterrupted in the morning, say half an hour, 1 hour, whatever time. Okay, you will get. It will be for your own self. Okay, that's the first thing that happens. Okay, it will help you plan things better. Okay, it creates a better version of you because you will be a little more disciplined in life. Okay, you will be a little more motivated. Okay, to get through the day. Okay, it brings in a sense of health, food, and sleep. Now, health in the sense that you will start thinking, is it the right thing to do for my body? Okay, because your body is not some dustbin that you pick anything from the road, anything from anywhere, and just dump it in. No, just because God gave us a nice machine, a well-oiled machine, does not mean that you throw anything in it. Okay, so that's first thing. Okay, food. Okay, now in today's time, unlike our grandparents or even our parents, okay, today you are spoiled for choices. Okay, you look around, you will find options to eat, from the most cheapest of the meals to the most exotic. Okay, now just because something is available does not mean you just pick it and pop it and into your stomach. No, that's not the case. Okay, let's respect our body. Okay, because the more you respect it, it will give it back to you. Okay, it will keep you more healthier. Okay, last comes sleep, the most neglected component in today's urban life, at least I would say. Many people don't think that they need 6 to 7 hours of sleep. No, trust me, at any point in time in your life, you need 6 hours of sleep. Okay, the guy who does hard labor, somebody on a construction site, somebody who's pulling a cart, he needs more. Okay, he needs a good 8 hours of sleep. Okay, and you will see those guys who toil or labor during the day, they sleep well. Okay, that's the thing. That's the thing about working out. Keep pushing your body to do a little more. Okay, now all said and done, eventually when you get on to running, what it does to your body, it will improve your aerobic endurance. Okay, now aerobic endurance is a more jazzier word for a better heart. Okay, so your heart starts pumping better. Okay, the blood circulation in your body increases, thereby a lot more oxygen gets into your body, and hence the benefits that running brings in. Okay, but you have to be careful as to how much is needed at what time. Now, today, if you start running, assuming you've not even done a 5 kilometer walk, okay, today, if you start running, don't start with a 10 kilometer. It's a slow and gradual process. Okay, that's how the heart gets used to it, slowly but surely. Okay, now when you were a child, maybe 2 year old, okay, were you eating like a 20-year-old? No, because your not body is not ready for it. Okay, slowly as you grow in life, the body develops the mechanisms to take more food. Similarly with running, body takes time to get used to anything that you do. So say, imagine a situation that you are working in a job that requires working in shifts. Okay, and you've been doing the daily shift, the morning shift every day. All of a sudden, some colleague of yours decides that no, he needs to quit, and you are given the graveyard shift. All of a sudden, it's night duty. So the body takes a week, okay, to get adjusted to a new schedule. Similarly with running, similarly when you go to a gym, you take up cycling, swimming, whatever you start pursuing, okay, body needs time. Okay. And in the end, after all this, if you start running, you will get better bones. That is a guarantee. Because the minute you start putting pressure on the bones, okay, to perform this, the body will start developing strength in them. Okay, it will start assimilating more calcium from your food to develop a better bone structure, which is what will help you later in life. Okay, when you say start hitting a 60-year bracket, that's when you realize that you are still walking fine, but your other friends who did not pursue fitness are already using sticks. This is the difference. So does anybody have any questions until now? Okay, as to what we are talking, are you able to assimilate what I'm saying?
You can use the reaction button. You can use the chat button. There are people who've asked a question. If you want to take
one or
it,
two.
yeah,
Yeah,
one.
we'll do
Okay,
one or
we'll
two.
take.
Yeah.
Okay, we've got a couple hand raise also. So Pallavi asked the question. I am an obese person who has a passion for running. Before lockdown, I was running. Now I want to start again. Would you be able to suggest how I can start? I have started walking every day 5 kilometers from the past 15 days.
Okay. So when you say obese, do you know how much should be your medically fit weight? Are you aware of your BMI?
Pallavi, you can unmute yourself. I've allowed you to unmute yourself. If you'd like to interact with Sachin, you can. You can.
Yes, Sachin. Right now I am 69 kgs and I should be ideally 49.
Okay. So your height is around lesser than 5 feet.
Yeah, almost 5. Yes.
Okay. So Pallavi, you are higher on the scale. Okay. So
Yes.
in that case, you need a combination of running as well as food in order to lose weight. Okay. And typically, if it's for obese people, we don't usually recommend starting running very earlier. Okay. Or even if you start running earlier, say suppose you're doing a 5 kilometer walk, I will advise only maybe 500 meters of towards the end. Suppose you're done with the 5K, then you do a 500-meter light jog, a very light jog, because of the excess weight there is going to be pressure on your knees to drag so much of weight. Okay. And you don't want your knees to become weaker in the bargain. Okay. So if you have to take up, okay, that's the best you can do. You can maybe start with 400 to 500 meters of a light jog after you have completed your 5 kilometer run, and that's about it. Do not go beyond that.
Okay.
And you will need a combination of food as well, okay, to look at. Are you thyroid? Do you have any
No,
kind of thyroid issues?
no, I don't.
Do you have diabetes? Do you have blood pressure? Do you have any heart trouble?
No, I don't have any of it as of
You
now.
don't have any of this as of now, which is good. Okay, which means it's just the food that you need to worry about.
Yeah, you could say that. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks, Sachin. We have a question from Rahul Kumar. If you'd like to unmute yourself.
Yes, sir, Rahul this side. Can you hear me?
Yes,
Yes,
we
Rahul.
can.
Yes, sir. Actually, a lot of people say that you should avoid running on the road. If you run long, like 5 kilometer daily, or you say 4 times a week, 5 kilometer. So you should avoid running on road, and you should run on clay track. So is there really anything that it hurts your knees in long run?
So there is a reason to it. Okay, the best preferred surface for running is grass.
Okay.
Okay. But if you're living in an urban city, okay,
Yeah.
you
Right.
will find it very difficult. First of all, to find a green patch is difficult. Okay.
Yes. Yes.
Finding a grass track is even more difficult. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, if you can't find a grass track, okay, you'll have to find a mud track.
Okay.
Okay.
Like
Red
clay
mud,
track.
red,
Yes.
red, yeah. So then you have to find a mud track. Okay.
Okay.
But if you can't do that, okay, then the road is the only option. Okay. When you come
Yes.
to the road, a tar road is better than a concrete road.
Okay.
Okay, this is
Tar
the
road.
difference. A tar road is a lot more softer surface, okay,
Okay.
compared to a concrete road, okay, which
Yeah,
is why
mostly
when
in cities,
yes,
mostly there are tar roads only, I suppose.
yes, so you can run on a tar road, okay,
Okay.
one, and then you'll have to use some shoes, okay, so that you can cushion your legs a bit, okay. But
Yeah.
I can tell you one thing: running does not hurt the knees unless you run in bad form.
Okay.
Okay, we'll get to that. We have a slide here that shows what is a
Okay.
good
Okay.
form, what is a bad form.
Okay.
Right.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Okay. Sachin, you like to take one more question, or we move ahead
We can
to
take
the
one
next?
more and then we go to
Okay.
the next slide.
Okay, fine. Arvind, I think you want to unmute yourself. I think he's not able to. Okay, so there's a question. Some people say that running is bad for knees. Any thoughts? I think that will be covered in the presentation, or you want to take that, Sachin?
No, we have a slide on good form and bad form that takes care
Okay,
of it. Yeah.
fine. All right. Uh, all right. I think
I
we
think
can
we'll
move
go to the
ahead.
next slide. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
we'll go to the
Yeah.
next slide. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, many people have this in mind when they start running. You know, what is the best time to run? Okay. So, if you ask me that question personally, when I started 5 years ago, okay, I started running in the evening. Okay, because that is the only time available to me. Okay, and the other thing was, can I really continue doing it on a daily basis? even if it is running. So whenever you start running or whenever you start pursuing something new, see if you can do that on a regular basis. Okay, so if you start running in the evening is fine, no problem. Do it for half an hour, 30 minutes, 20 minutes, it's fine. But get into the rhythm, get into the discipline. Then slowly the body starts getting used to it. Then you yourself, you'll change your sleep cycle to get up in the morning. This is what happens to many people. Some people are naturally early risers. Okay, they can get up in the morning, or maybe they do not have other responsibilities in the morning, hence they can spare time. Like I am a family man, I have responsibilities in the morning. Okay, so I use the evenings for my workouts. Okay, so absolutely no correct time. Yes, mornings are obviously better because less traffic on the road. Okay, less traffic on the road, less people on the road, you're a lot more safer, oxygen levels are better, everything is fine. But that doesn't mean you cannot run in the evening. You can run at pretty much any time of the day as far as it is a safe track. Okay, and you think you can spare the time. Okay, and yes, obviously, do not finish your dinner and then go for a run. That is not something that I'm trying to say here. Okay. I think we'll go to the next one.
All right.
Okay. Now, these are the basic things that you should know about yourself, and these things you already know, if you ask me. Okay. So, like earlier, I had a question on the weight part of it. Okay. So, everybody knows their BMI, if you ask me that question. Okay. Now, why is BMI important? Because you have a height and a weight ratio. Okay. That needs to be kept in mind. So, say your height is 160 centimeters. Okay. And your weight is 60, then your medically fit weight should be 60 kgs. Okay, so it is your height in centimeters minus 100. This is what your medically fit weight should be. Now, if you are 20% above this, okay, you are definitely in the obese category. Okay, but you are within plus or minus 5% is tolerance is allowed. That much is okay. But if you are going beyond that, then you need to start worrying about your weight. Now, this is only from a weight perspective that we are talking, so that you can start monitoring how you're eating, how much workout you're doing and stuff. Okay. Now we come to the little more important point, which is usually not known to many people. So we all eat things that we like, we think they are healthy to us. Okay. But how it works in the body, most people don't understand unless you go to a doctor. But what I can tell you here is a very simple method. Okay. It's called the litmus test. We all went to school and we were taught in chemistry that you can get a litmus paper and you can check whether the soap is alkaline or acidic. This everybody has learned. Now the same litmus test, okay, you can buy it from a pharmacy and you can test your saliva. It will tell you whether your body is acidic or alkaline. Now, why is this important? Okay, many people start running by thinking that it will improve their immunity. Okay, now this simple litmus test will tell you whether your body is already having enough immunity or not. Okay, so on a litmus scale, if you are on a scale of 7 and above, which means 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, a scale, litmus scale is from 1 to 14. Okay, if you are 7 and above, you can take the test. You can find out whether you are acidic or alkaline, and trust me, guys and girls who are above 7 would not have any issues in their body with respect to heart, BP, diabetes, blood pressure, thyroid, whatever lifestyle disease we talk, you guys will not have it. Okay, because in the body there is no disease which can survive in an alkaline environment. Okay, this is very important to know before you take up running. Okay, many people otherwise later give up running thinking, oh, it has not helped my immunity. But you know what? Acidity or alkalinity of the body is controlled by the food you eat, not by the workout you do. So your immunity is primarily a function of the food you eat. The more raw vegetables or salads, as you know it, and the more raw fruits you include in your diet, the better will be your body's immunity. Okay. The next is resting heart rate and pulse rate. Okay. Now, everybody knows how to check their pulse. You can either check the pulse here or you can check it very closer to your neck. Okay, some people find it very difficult to find the nerve on the wrist, But the neck is a very easy access area. You will see many doctors, if they can't find it here, they will immediately touch here and check the pulse. Okay. Now, why is this important? Okay. Your pulse rate should be at an average should be around 80 at resting. That means when you are now sitting here and attending this session, you should be around 80 beats a minute. Okay. If you are anything higher, okay, you should it's better to check your blood pressure. Okay, so that you know whether you are a low BP or a high BP, and accordingly you should scale up your running, okay, to manage this situation. If you are already on a high blood pressure, or if you're taking any kind of medication, I would advise that you increase your running distances very slowly, so that the body gets used to it and accordingly it will adjust itself. Diabetes and heart, okay, again lifestyle diseases given to us by this modern living. Okay, very important to know, because in running what happens is, as the body starts consuming more carbohydrates, your blood sugar levels can drop, and that can give you dizziness and stuff. So you should know whether you're diabetic or not before you start. What is your fasting sugar, what is your non-fasting sugar? You should be ultra careful. If you are diabetes, you have heart and blood pressure, any of these, know all of these problems first and then take up running. Do not just jump into it just because you are attending this session. Just because you learned some basics, do not jump into it. We'll go to the next slide, Karan. Now, what is it that you need to start running? Okay, so you can go from the simplest of the things, which is a cotton t-shirt, to a cotton shorts. Okay, but what is more important here is that when you start running, please make sure that you have some kind of a reflective strip on your body. Okay, we've shown one for demonstrative purposes here. Okay, this is because you may be on the road, but the guy who is driving that car or a bus or a truck, okay, does not really respect pedestrians or people on the road. Okay, at any point, you do not want to compromise safety. You may have all other components at home. You may have a watch, you may have a small water bottle, you may have a napkin at home. But if you don't have this reflective strip, it costs only 500 rupees. Okay, from any sports store, you can get it. Please buy this, and whenever you start, either in the morning or in the evening, please have this on you so that you are safe. Okay, then the rest of the components you can still think on how to manage, but you cannot really control a driver's behavior. If he doesn't see you on the road, you cannot blame him later. Any questions so far on whatever we've said?
Yes, there's a post. I've accumulated 15, 20 questions. I've tried to segregate them. I'm going to take a few of them for you, Sachin. If anyone else wants to ask questions, you can use the raise hand button so that you can interact with Sachin as well. So let's see. So many of these questions I'll have asked, he's going to take you all through the startings. But there's a person called Vaibhav. Sir, I want to start running. My weight is 62 kgs height. Okay, so he'll take all of that across. How many? Raj Manocha had a question. How many kilometers should one walk up for cool down when running for 8 to 10 kilometers? Raj Manocha.
So, okay, to answer that question, if you've done a 8 to 10 kilometer run, okay, you should do at least a 1 kilometer cool down. Okay, you should gradually decrease your speed, okay, and then come down to a walking pace. Okay, ideally what we do right now is that whenever we do a very long run, around 20 kilometers or 25 kilometers, we do a 500 to 600 meters barefoot walk. We take off our shoes, okay, and then we do a barefoot. Now what that does is to your body, it starts opening up the nerves, because when your foot is actually caged in that shoe, okay, so the nerves are getting pressed. Okay, so on one hand, your feet is trying to swell because you're putting load on the feet. Okay, so it will try to swell a bit and spread a bit to take that additional load, but the shoe caps it. So what happens, that puts pressures on the nerves. Okay, so the minute you are done with your running, okay, it is ideally best if you can take off your shoes and do a 500-meter walk, okay, and start reducing your heart rate. This is the ultimate thing you can do. If you can't do that, I would still advise then you do a 1 kilometer, very, very nice cool down. It should take you around 6 to 7 minutes easily. And by the 8th or 9th minute, you should be done.
Okay. Sachin, you mentioned barefoot. So there's someone has a question called Abhijit had a question. Please guide about barefoot running.
Okay, so uh, barefoot is one of my favorite topics. Okay, so when I started running, first year I ran in shoes, and the next year I took up barefoot running. Personally, saying I love it a lot. I have the Luna chappals also. Okay, that is used for running barefoot. I also have the other sandals from Zero. Okay, that is meant for barefoot running, walking, hiking. So these are things, they have a very, very thin sole made of rubber. Or if people have fancy the Vibrams, you can buy the Vibrams also. Please understand, barefoot running never injures your body. It is a sure shot way of making sure that you will run in the right form. Okay, in a shoe, there is a good chance that you will touch your heel to the ground while you are running. Okay, but if you are doing barefoot running, you will never ever attempt also to put your heel on the floor, because it will hurt you. Okay, your paws, okay, this part of the body is like a shock absorber. It is the ultimate cushion. Okay, sadly we can't do these things in an urban environment, because there can be metal splinters on the road. There are small sharp objects which can hurt you very badly, which is why people don't do it very often in the cities. People outside, I mean, I know other tier 1 tier 2 cities where people still do it. I've seen a lot of runners in Bombay also who've actually, I would call them courageous guys, because they still do barefoot running in Bombay. Okay, in the summers also, when the surface is hot, okay, you can make omelette on that surface. People are doing barefoot. Personally, I like it a lot. I did it. Okay, but one fine day I was coming back home and I crossed a construction site and a metal splinter got into my feet, and that was the end of it, because family said either you run with shoes or you stop running. I chose to running in shoes.
Okay. So there's a quick question Rahul Kumar has, because you mentioned litmus test. Is there any best time for litmus test?
Ideally, when you wake up in the morning, do not do the litmus test first thing. Okay, you can go freshen up. Okay, take a glass of water or do your brush. Okay, swish it off. Okay, before you get to your breakfast, do the litmus test. Okay, otherwise you can do a litmus test pretty much half an hour, 1 hour of eating. So you have finished your lunch, you can do a litmus test, no problem, because you are testing the saliva. Okay, the saliva doesn't get impacted if after you have eaten the food, you had a glass of water, maybe after 1 hour, everything is normalized. You can do it anytime. And if you fancy, it's not a very expensive thing, costs only 2 rupees a strip. You can do it 3 times a day and it can show you if there are any variations.
Some people have raised their hands. Would you like to take one or two questions, Sachin?
Yeah, sure, why not?
See, Rohini, you can unmute yourself.
Hi Sachin, Rohini this side.
Yeah. Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, Rohini, go ahead.
Please go ahead, Rohini.
Yeah. Sachin, I wanted to ask, I'm a mother. I have very hectic schedule in the mornings, but I still do prefer taking a walk at around 9:30 when I drop my kid off to the bus, and I take a walk, and or I prefer running. And then, I want to know if I should be eating something light, because I take my thyroid pill in the morning. So I take a gap of around 45 minutes to 1 hour before I can actually eat something. So I want to know if I can eat something light before running. Would you
Yes,
recommend
so
that?
yeah, so you can take anything lighter, something like maybe 2 dates. Okay,
Okay.
Khajur. Okay, the wet dates or the do not, I don't know what they call those hard ones, the ones that are hard as rock. Okay, not
Okay.
those. Okay,
Okay.
take dates.
Okay.
Are you taking up running for losing weight, or it is just to maintain weight?
No, just to stay healthy, because mine is an autoimmune disease. So I prefer, keeping all other parameters like diabetes and hypertension at bay. So just for that thing,
Okay,
just to
and
keep
you
fit.
are already on, yeah, and you are on thyroid pills right now.
Yeah. Past 10
Okay,
years I'm on therapy. Yeah.
so then I would suggest that whenever you finish your run, okay, after you come back home, you can look up for a video of a yoga asana called Sarvang Asana.
Sarvangasana. Okay, I'll do
Yes.
that.
So what Sarvang Asana, I mean, there are, to reach to Sarvang Asana, there is one more asana ahead of it. Okay.
Okay.
But Sarvangasana, what it does is it will make sure that the blood circulation in the upper part of your body, which is neck and head, okay, it will
Perfect.
improve
Yeah.
the circulation. So that takes care of your thyroid issues.
Perfect. I'll
Okay.
do
Now,
that.
majority of these issues, if you see, so blood circulates in your body. Okay.
Yeah.
That is, there's no doubt about it, which is why the brain functions. Okay.
Yeah.
But because of our lifestyles, okay, we keep popping something in our stomach. There is always a need of blood into your stomach to digest
Yeah.
things. Okay. Which, so what the body does, it has limited supply. It draws blood from other parts
Yeah.
and gives it to the stomach, which means it is drawing blood from your head, which is drawing blood from other parts of the upper body. Okay.
Yeah.
So when you do a Sarvangasana, it will ensure that the blood circulation increases in the upper part of the body and hence the thyroid.
Okay. Perfect.
Okay. So that's
That was
something
a
you can
good
try
tip.
post your run. Yeah. Once you're
I'll
done
do.
with your run, okay, you can, as part of your post stretching, you can start
Yeah.
working on the Sarvangasana slowly, yeah, but one by one. Okay. Don't
Yeah.
rush into it. Okay.
Okay.
Uh,
Perfect. Thank you.
we'll take one more question, Sachin.
Yeah.
Okay, Shilpi, you can unmute yourself.
Hi Sachin.
Yes, Shilpi.
Yeah, I wanted to ask in what pace we should run and how much distance we should run if I want to do fat loss because I have a heavier lower body. My hips and thighs are a bit on a heavier side. So I've been running since last 1 month,
Uh-huh.
but I don't get like how much time continuously I should run so that fat loss happens.
Okay, so Shilpi, you'll have to understand a bit about the body first. Okay, I mean, I have a slide here, but I will try and explain it right now. Okay, so
Okay.
whenever you start running, you have to start running at a conversation pace. Okay, now what is a conversation pace? At
Yeah.
a pace at which you can keep talking to your partner.
Okay. That
Okay,
means
that is the
it will be
speed.
it will be quite slow then if I have to talk.
I'll explain. I'll come to that. I'll come to that.
Okay.
Okay, whenever you are at conversation pace, okay, the body has, okay, there are three types of fuels in the body. Okay,
Yeah.
carbohydrates, fat, and protein, which is your muscle. Okay,
Okay.
carbohydrates is the most fastest burning fuel in the body. Okay,
Okay.
so it is like a vehicle on octane. The minute you start running, it will get consumed within half an hour to 1 hour. So the maximum we can store is 2 hours of carb fuel. Okay,
Okay.
now that is almost exhausted immediately. Okay, if you want to do a fat burn, okay, there are two
Yeah.
components which are required, which is very important. Okay, one is your mind should be ready that yes, I have to burn the fat, not the carbohydrates. One. Two, fat burns only with availability of oxygen, and fat is the slowest burning fuel, but the longest it will sustain. Okay, so if you have to burn fat, you have to run at conversation pace so that the body is getting worked, it is getting pushed a bit, and it has enough oxygen, okay, to
Okay.
keep burning the fat and giving you energy. Because if you run faster, okay, body will
Yeah.
assess that, oh, this person is going to run fast, let me burn the carbohydrates, not the fat.
Okay.
And what typically happens after you're finished with your run, many people will go for and have idlis and dosas, okay, which is again carbohydrates. So what you did in effect, you burned a carbohydrate, you refilled a
And consume.
carbohydrate.
Yeah.
So you have to burn the fat, okay, and give it only little carbohydrate.
Okay.
That's how the
So
body switches from burning carbohydrates to fats.
so how till how much time should be this the continuous run should be there?
Okay. So anyways, this part is part of my presentation, but I'll explain it here again. You have to scale up to at least an hour of running. Okay.
Continuous.
But yeah, but okay, not more than 4 days a week.
Okay.
You do not have to run every day to attain this fat loss. This is one. Okay. Two, fat loss is majorly a function of diet again. Look at what you're eating.
Okay.
Okay. Now, if you want to assess what you're eating, whether that is the most suited for your body type, there in Ayurveda, there are 3 types of body types. Okay. Vata, Pitta, Kapha, we call it. Okay. There is a simple questionnaire available online. You can take the questionnaire, you can determine what is your body type. Okay, so people who are very lanky, there are many people around us who eat anything, but they never put on weight.
Yeah.
These are people who fall in the Vata category. Okay, these are people who can eat chocolates also, dates also, puddings also, and it will not show up on their body.
Yeah.
Okay, then there are and these are people who like warmer weather. They like the sun because there is no fat in the body to handle winter.
Yeah.
Okay, then there are people who are the kapha category, who are in the middle, who can eat a lot, burn a lot. Okay, and they also prefer the summers. Okay, but they are slightly inclined guys, towards the winter. So what happens, they can eat a lot, but they'll burn a little slower than the vata guys. And there is the kapha. Okay, the kapha guys are like whatever little bit they eat, it shows up a lot on the body. And these are people who prefer winter as a weather because they have enough fat in their body to handle the winters. So get your body type assessed, okay, through this simple questionnaire. You will, and then Ayurveda tells you what is it that you should eat as per your body type.
Okay. Thank
Okay,
you.
does that help you?
Yeah. I got it.
Okay. I think we'll go ahead. Okay,
Yes,
I
we'll
think
go
we're
ahead.
already. Yeah, I think we're on the next slide, the same
I am.
page.
So before you begin this, so a lot of people have the questions which are in this slide. So that basically there's Srinivasa, Sonal, Rahul Makse. They all want to ask you about breathing issues. So when you're touching up on this, if you can just emphasize on breathing issues and techniques, so that all their questions can be answered.
Okay, so on the topic of conversation pace, on a conversation pace, your breathing is as natural as what you are doing right now. Okay, the breathing is very smooth. Okay, you can still breathe from your mouth and exhale through your nostrils, or you can do the other way. But most importantly, okay, the mistake that people make is they start storing all the oxygen here in the chest. Ideal way of breathing is from your belly. Notice yourself. So notice a kid when he's sleeping. They breathe from their bellies. They don't breathe from their chest. That is one thing. If you are already breathing from your chest, you will get breathless very quickly while running. So in order to develop a better lung capacity, you have to develop the ability to breathe from your belly. That gives space for the lungs to expand. Now, how do you get to that stage? That is the first thing that comes. I mean, you've been breathing from your chest for like years now, and all of a sudden, Sachin Pursani comes and says, "Breathe through your belly," or Mr. Baba Ramdev says, "Breathe from your belly." No, it doesn't happen. The switch is not like overnight, okay? But it will happen in the night when you go to sleep. When you go to sleep, consciously practice very slow breathing from your belly. Allow your belly to expand when you inhale, and then when you exhale, exhale very slowly. That way your body will come into the rhythm of inhaling from your belly, exhaling from there again. So that's how the pattern changes. Okay, and once you do that, there will be always enough oxygen available for you, even at conversation pace, to just keep running. And once you get into this rhythm, trust me, you will never want to stop running. I have seen this happen to many guys. They have these issues. Once they learn this trick on breathing through the belly, they are like, we just want to chat along and go on for kilometers. We do these group runs in Mumbai, around 10, 12 of us, imagine. And we keep chatting, talking, okay, for a good 30, 35 kilometers, only stopping in between for some water break or slowing down, not even stopping at times. That's because we have developed the rhythm of breathing from the belly. It's a very simple technique. You can do it at home when you go to bed, okay? Consciously do that for a few days, and over the few weeks, you will realize that the breathing pattern has changed. And stick to conversation pace, because that is where the body burns most of the fat and it develops the largest part of your endurance. Okay. Now, the second point is running at faster speeds is not directly proportional to weight loss. Like I explained earlier, if you run faster, you will burn carbohydrates. Okay. The fat is still there only. It is not even being touched upon. Okay. So the fat loss will not kick in if you keep running only at a faster pace. You will have to have some runs which are at a conversation pace or a slower pace. Okay. Now, what is the best duration to run? I mean, in terms of scale up. Okay. Ideally speaking, start with a 20-minute, okay, walk or run or walk jog, whatever combination you want. Okay. And then scale up only not more than 10% on each of those sessions. Okay, so you did a 20-minute today. Do 20 minutes for 3 days in this week. Okay, and then next week make it only 22. Now this you might feel, oh, I did 20. No, what, 2 minutes is very less. But the next week it will become 24 and a half. And then the subsequent week it will become around 30 minutes. So by the 6th week you will be doing already 30 to 40 minutes of one session. So start slow and build it. Your endurance will come in. Your muscles will get used to the endurance. The body will change the capillary mechanism. So body, when it sees more pressure being put on it, it develops more blood capillaries into those muscles to provide it oxygen. So it is a very slow process. Do not try to go from 20 minutes to 1 hour. You might do it for a week or two. Then you will start feeling fatigue in your legs. Okay. How many times in a week should I run? Best is 4 times a week, but the minimum is 2 times a week. Okay. If you are starting off and these sessions are only 15-20 minutes, say you've never pursued running too much, only 15-20 minutes of running, you can still do it every day, no problem. But as you start growing up in endurance and in time, restrict it to 4 times a week. Body needs time to recover. Okay. Do I need to do the whole distance? Say if you're doing 20 minutes, do I need to run the whole distance? No, nobody says so. Okay. Do 10 minutes of walk, 10 minutes of jog is fine. And then build it slowly. Then slowly reduce the walk portion and increase the jog portion. You will become comfortable into running. Nobody puts a gun to your head and says, no, you have to do 20 minutes of run. No, there is no military style training here required in running. We all are recreational athletes. We are just doing it for fitness. We are not going to participate in Olympics. So don't do that. We'll go to the next one, Karan.
Yep.
Okay. Now, this is again a common question. Will I injure myself? Okay. Anything that you do in excess will only harm your body. You eat anything in excess will harm your body. Okay. You try and avoid, be sleep deprived, it will harm your body. You have excess water, it will harm your body. Many people say water is harmless, इससे कुछ नहीं होता है. You try having 8 liters of water, it will start harming your body. Your kidneys will go for a toss. Okay. Anything in excess will harm you. So please gradually scale up. Okay. When you scale up, make sure you're having enough quantity of vitamins and multivitamins. And I don't mean tablets. I mean real food. Okay. Real fruits, real food. Okay. Now, a common problem with injuries is running form. Okay. If you see the slide there, many people are heel strikers, which means their heel lands first into the ground. Now this does two things. Okay. One, it will transmit the shock directly from your heel to your knee to your hip joint straight away. Okay. You will keep running like this for a few days. Some people will tell you change the shoe, do this, do that. Okay. Eventually you will keep getting injured only. Okay. Now what is the best way to run is when you land on the ball of your foot, which means if this is your foot, okay, this is where you should be landing. Not in the front, not on the heel. This is where you should be, because this is the part of your foot that can take the maximum shock. It is like a shock absorber. Your paws are like a shock. Ever watched a cheetah or a leopard running? They run on their paws. They do not have heels. They do not have. Only we people have. Humans have heels. Animals don't have heels. If you see a horse, he does not have a heel. If you see a cheetah, you see a leopard, he does not have heels. They have only paws to run because that is a shock absorber. They can run as fast as they want. Have you ever seen a cheetah getting injured? It doesn't, because he runs in the right form. That is the most natural form of doing it. So similarly, when you run, now how do you achieve it? Now many people are heel strikers. Okay. You can try this at home. Okay. Stand straight. Okay. And start leaning your upper body. Okay. So if you're standing straight, if you can see this, start leaning your upper body. Okay. There will be an angle at which you cannot control your feet and you will automatically tip. That is the form you want. That is exactly the form that you're seeing on the slide in the green. The guy is at an angle. He is at a slight angle. So it is a natural propulsion to go ahead, it automatically propels your legs into a wheel. It becomes a wheel. That is a natural form. Okay. So there are many things on YouTube you can go and see about chi running, CHI, okay, chi running. It explains the most natural form. And if you are a chi runner, you can even do barefoot. You are not going to get injured. So whether you wear shoes or no shoes, stick to the right form. Okay. Now, coming to the topic of shoes, there are running shoes and there are walking shoes. Whenever you choose the running shoes, make sure they are one size higher than your normal shoes, the ones that you use as formals to office, okay, or some shoes to your parties. Okay, make sure they are one size higher for a very simple reason. When you run, your toes will get pushed forward. If they don't find the space, your toes will start hurting within a few sessions. Your calf will start burning. It needs space inside the shoe. You don't see it from the outside when a guy is running, okay? But inside, the toe is actually jutting forward because there is space. So when you go to buy a shoe, there many people will talk to you about the toe box. What kind of a toe box do you want? Now that depends on how your foot is, whether it is a narrow or it is wide. Depending on that, they will suggest a toe box. That is done mainly for this reason, so that there is space inside the shoe. Otherwise, you will come back with hurting toes. I can tell you, within 5 or 10 days, you will start crying after running. Okay, this is absolutely important. Now, people get injured because they don't stretch post run. People focus on the running. They will do whatever 4-5 minutes of walk and just go home. Okay, they forget to stretch the major calves, quadriceps, hamstrings, and the IT band. The IT band is such a common problem of runners, but it will manifest itself like a knee injury. You will start feeling pain in your knee. You will go to a orthopedic saying mera knee dukh raha hai. Doctor will say you are running. He will not go to the point that your IT is actually, the IT band, it starts in your glute, it travels all the way from your thigh and then connects to your knee. That is the IT band. So an IT band stretch is must, okay, after your run. Many people just do the simple quadricep, calf, they forget the IT because that stretch is a little complicated. Okay, they usually forget it. So an IT band stretch is a must. It will manifest itself as a knee problem. And later, after few months, some physio will come and tell you, "Arey, aapka to IT tight hai." Okay. And if you want to avoid these problems, okay, make sure that you do a massage once in 3 weeks. Okay. People overlook this part of it. They say, "Hum to stretching kar rahe hain, yoga kar rahe hain." That is fine, but a deep tissue massage is required. If you don't like a deep tissue massage, you can still get a regular massage done, but please do it. This is a small investment you will do now, but it will pay a lot as you continue running. Okay. Does this address, because I saw a couple of questions from IT band. I think you can take some questions here.
Yeah, exactly. So I've accumulated all the injuries related questions. We can take them through. Okay, so Vipul, like you mentioned, had a question called any insights with IT band pain while running, please. So that's what you've addressed already, right?
Yeah, I've already addressed that.
Okay. So that was Vipul's question. Chachta, say, can we talk about injuries in general? I have an upper thigh side pain after a certain amount of running for the last 2 months.
I have a question.
Yeah.
What is the IT? I mean, I'm not very clear. What is that you're talking about? Can you?
It is called an interlopial band. Okay, IT band.
I mean, is it a body or outside a body?
It is inside your body. It is a muscle in a way.
Can you, if you have a leg, can you demonstrate exactly what it is? That's not very clear to me.
I have to check. I mean, Karan, if you can find out.
I'll put it on the chat box. I'll put it on the chat box.
You can put a link, okay, about the IT band from YouTube. Okay. So IT band is, I mean, many people don't even talk about it. I mean, I'm very happy that some people are talking about it, because that way I'm sure they've gone through some kind of pain related to the IT band.
Okay. Then Purnima had a question. Purnima Pasi, I get knee patella pain whenever I start running. Do I need to strengthen my leg muscles before I get into running? I really want to include running in my daily routine, but unable to do so. How do I begin?
Yeah, so if you have a patella problem, the first thing that you can do is you can do a leg extension or a knee extension exercise sitting on a chair in your home. okay, which is nothing but the way you are right now attending this session. Be in the same posture, just raise your legs, okay, so that they are parallel to the ground. Okay, so yeah, right now you're like this, your leg is like this, just make sure you bring it parallel to the ground. Okay, this is what makes sure that the patella and its cartilages are strengthened. Okay, this is a very common exercise. You can do it for 5 minutes in the morning, 5 minutes in the evening to start off, okay, without any weights. Okay, just use your existing body weight and do it. Okay, you would see some improvements in the patella. And do a lower body stretching every day, okay, in the evening. Okay, for a good 5-10 minutes, do a lower body stretching. That will help you address the patella problems. And if you have a patella problem, be very careful when you are getting down the stairs. When you're going down the stairs, okay, or you're running downhill, okay, that tends to put a lot of pressure on the shin bone, okay, on the upper side of your calf, okay, on the front side, okay, and that gets straight away transferred onto your knees, onto the patellas. That doesn't happen when you go up. Okay, if you're going up, the pressure is mainly taken by your glutes and your hamstrings. Okay, it doesn't come much onto your knees. Okay, but when you're going down, there are two things happening. One is the weight of your body, which is getting pushed down because of the gravity, and you tend to roll faster when you go down. So there are a lot of complications that happen because of that. So be extremely careful when you're walking down the stairs, okay, and when you're running downhill. Try and reduce the pace. And if you have patella issues, please do a leg raise exercise sitting in your chair at home, and then gradually you can add something called a resistance band. Okay, at home you can buy a green color resistance band from the pharmacy, which is a medium range, and you can start working on your patella problems. That's something you can do.
Right, super. Shreya Tandon had a question. I am 24 years old. I have had my left knee dislocated a few times in the past 10 years. However, it has been very slight and it usually went away in a few hours. In May and June, I ran 5 kilometers, and all of a sudden, one day I had the knee pain but no dislocation. Ever since then, I've had trouble walking or standing for a long time, and I'm unable to run.
Okay, so knee problems like these are usually a manifestation because of the jelly in your knee pads. Okay, that is cushioning your knees, can be a problem. Okay, now this happens again. These kind of issues are because of less hydration. If you're less hydrated, the cushioning in your jellies can reduce. Okay, so make sure one, you have good shoes, okay, to cushion your knees. Okay, then and maintain a conversation pace rhythm while running. Do not try to run too hard or push too hard on the knees. Okay, and if it manifests itself multiple times, you might have to go to ortho. There's not much you can do otherwise.
There are questions. We can take one or two from. So there's Pranav Avate. You can unmute yourself. Pranav Avate, you've raised your hand. Or Sachin Hansraj.
Hello.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Hi, Sachin. This said Sachin Pawar. So actually,
yes,
I was running 3 months back, and what I have run almost 3 to 4 marathon with 10 kilometers. But after that 3 months gap was there due to the lockdown. So I have started again running. But now what happened that I can run only 3 kilometers and 3.5, and after that I get what we call it. Yeah. So
yeah, that will happen.
Yeah. So
that will happen. It happened for a few days.
Okay.
So you have to be careful. So I'll tell you a small trick if you want to pick this up. Okay, run only thrice a week. Okay, and if you're doing 3 kilometers, I'm assuming you're doing it around 18 to 20 minutes.
Yeah, 20 minutes. Yeah, right.
Around 20 minutes. Okay.
Yeah.
So do it alternate days.
Okay.
Okay. Say you do. Say I would suggest doing on Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday. 3 days. Okay. You do it on Wednesday for 20 minutes. Okay. And on Friday for 25 minutes. Okay. And when you do it on Sunday, that time you will do it for 35 minutes.
Okay. Sure.
Okay.
Sure.
Do it alternate days.
Okay.
Trust me, if you have been running earlier, 20, then a 25, and then you will do a 35 on Sunday and one stretch.
Okay. Okay. That I will do. Okay.
Yeah. So you can also look up online. It's called the Hanlon method of training. Okay. So what the method says is that you do only 3 days of run. Okay. So whatever distance you do on Wednesday and Friday, Okay. Sunday should be a summation of the both.
Okay.
So say you did a 3 kilometer on Wednesday,
Okay.
you did a 4 kilometer on Friday, Sunday you will be able to do a 7 kilometers.
Okay.
That is how you scale up.
Okay.
Okay.
Right, right. Okay.
And every time you go higher, don't go higher than 10%.
Oh.
So do a 3 kilometer maybe this week. Next week, go only to 3.3 kilometers and you will get your rhythm back.
Okay, okay, fair enough. But one more thing, that now as that our society is also still due to the corona. So actually, from last 2 days, I started running in my home only without barefoot only. So will it fine?
So Sachin, I actually don't recommend running in the home because there will be a lot of twists and turns, right? You will barely run for 4 meters and you will turn around.
Yes, right, right.
Unless you are living in a bungalow, I don't know. Okay.
No, no, no. I'm in flat only.
You are in a flat, right? Which means you will hardly go for 5 to 6 meters and you will turn around.
Right, right.
That will put pressure on your knees.
Okay, okay. So
if you have to take it up, or if you have to, how tall is your building?
It's eight floors are there.
8 floors, na? I would recommend that you walk 8 floors.
Okay.
Okay. These 30 minutes or 3 kilometer distance, whatever you said, no,
Yeah.
you just walk that 3 kilometers in the building, up and down.
Okay.
That will make sure that your legs have enough pressure in them.
Okay.
And your heart is pushed, okay, to take in more oxygen.
Okay. Okay.
Do not wear a mask while walking, please.
Yeah. Yeah. That I already doing that. Not using the mask.
Okay. So
And
if you, tell me.
one more question is that actually last night experience only, I ran around 5 kilometers in my home only. Okay. Yesterday morning, but in the night I was having too much acidity. I slept hardly 2 to 3 hours only. So what could be the reason?
Can you quickly tell me what you eat during the day? I'll give you only 1 minute.
Morning I ate some dosas.
Okay.
And after that I ate in afternoon I ate that methi ka sabji, and in the night I ate khichdi, that dal rice khichdi.
Okay, this is for dinner. Rice
Yeah,
khichdi.
yeah, yes.
And you don't have any fruits in between?
No, I didn't.
No. Okay, that is a mistake.
Okay.
Okay. If you don't like salads, many people hate salads because you keep chewing like a cow.
Okay.
But eat a fruit. You need fruits twice a day.
Okay.
Okay. So whatever this little gap you had between the breakfast and the lunch. Okay. Say you had breakfast at 9 o'clock or 8 o'clock. Okay. And your lunch was at 1 o'clock. At 11 o'clock, have a fruit. Okay. Say you had lunch at. So do you drink tea in the evening?
No, I don't eat. I don't drink tea.
Tea? Any tea, coffee, any of these
No,
things?
no, nothing. Only
nothing.
milk.
Okay. So then if you have done your lunch, okay, then by evening 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock, have either a fruit or some dry fruit.
Okay.
Okay. So have a date, a anjeer, or something like that. Okay.
Okay.
If you are having almonds, make sure they are soaked for 8 hours.
Okay.
If not soaked, please don't touch them.
Okay.
They will only harm your body further.
Okay.
Okay. And then have your dinner by 8 o'clock.
Okay.
No late dinners. Finish your dinner at 8. Go to bed by 10 o'clock.
Okay. Sure.
Try it for a day or two. You will find this acidity going away.
Okay.
Acidity is a reason when you have too long gaps between meals.
Oh, okay.
And things that are a little overcooked also cause this issue.
Okay.
Okay. Have some part of your meal should be a raw fruit and vegetable or dry fruits for that matter.
Okay. Okay. Sure.
There is no athlete on earth who can say, I have lived only on cooked food. I can assure you, okay, I have met hundreds of them in my life. I have read about them, biographies and stuff. All have raw fruits and vegetables because they are the ones that turn your body alkaline.
Okay.
Cooked food causes acidity.
Oh.
Any natural thing, once cooked, will turn acidic.
Oh, okay. Okay.
This is the thing.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much, Sachin. Thank you.
Okay. So we'll quickly move to what are the things you should do post-run. Okay. This is usually the most neglected part. Okay. And the first thing I have seen most people is after they finish their run, they go and pull out their protein shake. Now, this is a clear mistake. Okay. Your body has just finished burning all the carbohydrates. Now, understand how the body works. There are 3 fuel buckets: carbohydrates, proteins, and fat. Okay. It consumes the carbohydrates for your running. Okay. and it is not dying. Okay, it does not differentiate between the three buckets. Okay, it says whatever is empty needs to be refilled first. I don't care what Mr. Sachin Purswani is going to do later. Okay, so the minute you finish your run and pop that protein shake, which somebody told you is a good muscle builder, the body will quickly convert it into a carbohydrate and store it. That is the first thing it will do. 2, after you have finished your run, your body is a little low on immunity. Okay, what you need after your run, the first thing is a fruit that is rich in vitamin C. So which is why oranges, kiwis, Mosambis or sweet limes, okay, are a must, or a Nibu juice. If you can find it, if you are running around a ground or a garden, you will find many of these lemon juice vendors, okay. You should have a lemon juice that will restore the vitamin C level. It will restore the sodium. It will restore the potassium, okay. Fatigue is primarily a function of lack of potassium in the body, okay. A lemon or a orange or a kiwi or a sweet lime, if you can read online, if you see the nutrition details, you will see all these components are available there with the vitamin C. Vitamin C improves your immunity. Make sure that you don't fall sick. Okay, first do that. Give it a good 5-minute, 10-minute break. Then if you want, do a stretching, complete the stretching of good 10 minutes, then pop that protein shake. The basic rule of having anything after a workout is it needs to go into your body in 45 minutes. So within 45 minutes, your protein shake is still going into the body. It will still get assimilated as a protein, not as a carb. Okay. So do not make the mistake of popping protein shakes post your workout immediately. Do not do that. Okay. Now, people who are looking to improve their endurance, okay, they can have a vitamin C and they can have a carbohydrate also with it, which can be a potato, medium size. You can also have dates. Now, some people go to the gym or they carry or they travel to a certain point for their workouts. They can carry a date or 2 or 3 dates with them that will start providing the body with carbohydrates. Now, how does it work? Your body is deployed of glycogen. That means all the glycogen is out of the muscles. It is hungry for glycogen. And whatever you give, 100% storage in the body. So you give it carbohydrates, it will draw the glycogen, store it into the muscle, and you are ready for your next workout. So next time after an alternate day, when you come there, your muscle is all prepped up for the workout. It is hot like a chick and it will go on the road and will burn it. Okay. So if you follow that routine over a few weeks, you will see that your recovery is faster and you can do your workouts easily. Okay. So do not make the mistake of popping protein shakes. Do not make the mistake of avoiding a stretching post the workout. The post workout is more important than the workout. Okay. And after you come home, please try and avoid a hot water shower. Okay. You should have either a cold temperature or a room temperature. Now, many people will say, oh, if I have a cold or a room temperature shower, I will catch cold. Okay. Now, this is again common because we are used to geysers. Okay. This is again a lifestyle problem. Okay. If you have to have a problem like this, then try and do a hot water shower a cold water shower once in 3 days. Okay. And slowly increase the number of cold water showers. Automatically the body will adjust. Okay. So there are many people who tell me, oh, we oil our hair. Even girls have this problem that we oiled our hair. We can't have a cold water shower because we need to have hot water. That's fine. You're not going to oil your hair every day. No. Once in 15 days, once a week is fine. But other days, try and have a cold water shower. Okay. Any questions on this?
Sachin, there are a lot of questions. Should we take it? Pritesh had a question. Yeah. He's been asking to unmute himself for a while. Pritesh, you can unmute yourself.
Hey, thanks Karan and Sachin, and thank you so much for arranging this session. It's been great so far. Sachin, most importantly, just wanted to share, one of my cousin is also a Comrades runner. He had done his 90K last year, July. So when I had some problem, and I started running basically in August last year. And I've been having this problem near my ankle. And since you were on the last PPT, basically the slide, and wherein there were some pointers which he helped me understand were of like overpronation and supination, because
underpronation.
Yeah, so I was having a lot of, and I was really finding it difficult to go to those doctors, and they were giving me all sort of weird stretches. But then my cousin told that better go and get proper shoes which has a more of a stability sort of. And another pointer was, can you just give a more high level information about retiring those shoes? Because right now, frankly speaking, I've just completed 1000K with my shoes, and when I saw the sole of those shoes, they have been completely worn out. And that is when I've again started to develop those signs which I was having early during my run. So I'm sorry, it's been a lengthy question, but just thought of getting on.
So the essence is about shoes. Okay. So if you're buying a shoe, when you go to a decent store, okay, they will have the cameras there.
Yes.
Okay. And they will ask you to run on a treadmill, and they will find out what is the angle of landing.
Yep. Okay. Absolutely.
So you know whether you are underpronated or overpronated, and whether you're a flat foot or a regular foot. Okay. So if depending on your pronation, they will suggest you a stability shoe. Okay. So that when your ankle lands on the ground, it doesn't collapse.
Yes.
What is happening in your case is when your feet lands, it collapses.
Absolutely, yes.
So if it collapses, it puts pressure on the ankle, on that joint, and the cartilages. So if you read the anatomy of the foot, there is no muscle.
Yes.
There is no muscle. It's bones, and more bones.
Yeah.
There are some 105 bones in that small thing, by the way.
Yes, I know.
Okay. And that is what gives you the flexibility.
Yep.
Okay. That is what gives you the flexibility. So it depending on how it crashes. So the only thing you can hurt in your foot is the cartilage that goes from your toe to your heel, which is called the plantar fascia.
Plantar fasciitis, yes. And that is what I'm going through right now.
So plantar fascia, if you want to avoid plantar fasciitis, the first thing is you have belan at home. Ghar pe roti banate hai na?
Yeah.
So when you get up in the morning, okay, while you're sitting in your chair or whenever you're having tea at your table, keep that belan under your foot and roll it.
I do it with a tennis ball, soft tennis ball.
Yeah, so you can do it with a golf ball or whatever you feel like.
Yes,
okay, do it with that. Okay, that will take care of the fasciitis.
Okay, okay.
That is one thing.
Yeah.
Shoes, yes, shoes tend to cause it also at times, because once they get worn out, like the question is, when do you retire the shoes?
Yes.
So 1000 kilometers means it is already done.
Yeah.
Okay, boss, it is gone.
Yep.
It is gone. Okay.
So is it, Sachin, I'm sorry, I just interrupted you. The articles, basically, I read a lot of articles on this, and it's all about, till now, it's all self-training. So they say that if you're running on a road compared to grass or soil, the retirement should be early in comparison to on the grass. So if you're running on road, it should be somewhere around 800 Ks. Rather, it can
somewhere buy. It depends on the shoe you buy.
Okay.
Now, if you buy a Nike, there is a Nike race shoe. Okay, I forget the name now. Okay, popular shoe cost 24,000 Indian rupees. Okay, but it lasts only 300 kilometers.
Okay.
Now that is like rubber on the tires of your car.
Okay.
When they hit the road, the rubber burns, right?
Yes.
That is why the treading goes away.
Yeah.
So these shoes have that kind of a rubber mechanism, and they have a plate inside. Okay. So the plate always gives you that spring action.
Okay.
Okay. And the rubber makes sure that there is enough grip for you to force yourself ahead. So you've seen a sprinter, right? When they take off, the 100-meter sprinters, they take off from the road, right?
Yes.
They don't start like you and me.
Yeah.
Okay. So they have those kind of spikes in their shoes, okay,
right,
so that there is enough grip onto the track and they can propel themselves forward. So these are shoes that last only 300 kilometers, cost like a bomb, okay, meant only for races.
Yes.
Okay. So we would use that maybe for 1 or 2 races and you're done. Okay.
So
but
I'm
the
on
regular
A6
shoes
right
that you
now.
buy, A6 will last only 1,000. They claim 1,600. They will last only 1,000.
Absolutely.
The netting will go away. The top of the netting will start giving away.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And the shoe will be done. But if you are noting this, you should also check how your formal shoes are getting worn out.
Okay. Yeah. So
are they getting worn out the same pattern as your formal shoes?
Yeah. So before that, I was on Decathlon, and and the thing was, what was happening is they were not stability. It was all rubber and those cushions. And I used to. I'm not an overpronator, but sort of a pronator. So the inside of my right
pronation
foot
is a natural action. First of all. Pronation is a natural action. You are not over. Everybody pronates.
Okay. Okay.
Little bit or more. It is a natural action. So it's not that you have to take special effort to do pronation.
Okay, okay. So what was
Angle of pronation varies. Yeah.
Okay, okay. So what was happening with my like the question that you asked? All my office shoes, the earlier shoes, they were getting worn out from the inner part where I was tending. As you told that the ankle goes in and then it causes that problem. So that was all the problem. And then just thought of getting this over to you and getting this clarified. Thank you so much, Sachin, and Karan. Thank you for unmuting me.
Awesome. Thanks.
Thanks. And Sachin, all the best for you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Okay, now very quickly, what is the proof that you are on the right track? Okay, now this is what will start happening to you in a few days. Okay, apart from your tightness in your stomach or in your abdomen. Okay, because when you start running, the whole balance of your body is from the core, is from the belly. It is the center of your body. So the minute you start running, the whole balance, okay, comes from there. So the muscles in the abdomen start working harder and they start tightening up to hold up. Okay, which is where when you start running, you start feeling, oh, my abs are tightening. Oh, मेरा पेट कम हो रहा है. वो पेट कम नहीं हो रहा है, वो muscle अंदर काम कर रहा है. Okay, this is what happens because for most of us, to find that muscle, we'll have to go under a microscope because fat उसके ऊपर इतना ज़्यादा भरा हुआ है. तो we start feeling अरे abs बन रहे. Abs तो बनेंगे बाद में जब बनेंगे, but you start feeling this stress in your stomach. Okay, and the other things that start happening, you start feeling better because as you start sweating, the hormones in the body, the happy hormones in the body starts get releasing. Okay, and you start feeling better. So which is why people say you should sweat so that you start feeling better. Okay, that happens to you. You start climbing the stairs very effortlessly. So many people start this, they can't even climb 2 floors. They start finding it easier to climb. Okay, there will be some sort of discipline that will come in your life in terms of waking up and going to bed. Your family will start cursing you because you will say, I want to go to bed early. Okay, they will say, no, we want to watch movie until 12 in the night. So these things will happen. They are normal. Every marathoner, every athlete's house, this happens. Okay, so don't get demotivated because of that. Okay, you will start feeling a sort of stiffness that you earlier had. It will go away. Okay, you will start feeling the body a little more flexible. Okay, you can bend down to lift objects a little more easier. Okay, and you will start counting calories. Now, every time you start looking at food, you will start calculating, should I eat this? Should I not eat this? Okay, because whatever wrong you eat, it will undo all the pain that you took. And one last thing, by the way, this myth about no pain, no gain, okay, is totally wrong. Okay, if you have pain while running, okay, do not overlook it. Okay, if you start having chest pain, especially, immediately stop. Chest pain can be a reason because of your heart being overworked, can also be because of acidity. But do not simply assume that there's acidity because of something that you ate the last night. Stop, check, and only then start. Okay, allow the acidity and other symptoms to go away and then only start. Do not just because it is paining, oh, it is going to benefit my heart is developing capacity. Nahin, aisa nahi hota hai. Okay, I think I've covered some of these myths earlier.
Yes, I think these are all covered.
Yeah, you're almost right. Few things to keep in mind. You should know what is a medically fit weight. I covered this earlier. Your height in centimeters minus 100 should be your permissible weight in kgs. Hydration. Please make sure that whenever you pee, okay, it is not dark yellow. It should be lemon yellow. Okay, and also do not drink so much of water that your pee is plain white. That means you are overhydrated. Okay, that's there. Get to know your dosha. I covered this earlier in terms of vata, pitta, and kapha. Okay, estimate your daily calorie count. Okay, how much a normal human being, okay, who is working in office does not do too much of hard labor. 2000 calories is enough. Okay, but also remember that one burger in McD, one French fries, and one Coke is 2000 calories. So if you eat that once over the weekend, please make sure that you fast all day. Okay, get a massage done. I stressed on this earlier as well. Okay, so that's it from me, guys.
Oh, thanks, Sachin. There's some people with questions. I'll help you all with that. But so what you all can do if you all have questions, we could not cover. We already gone 15 minutes over time. So thank you, Sachin, for taking us that extra 15 minutes, and everyone, of course, for being here. if we could not answer your question, there was only 1 hour to cover, and if in case you've not been able to answer your question, we are sorry. You can email us or reach out to us on Instagram. Sachin will, and we will definitely help you with these questions if you do have. So you can just reach out to us and we'll help you with it. But as far as I can see, we've answered most of it. Thanks again. We have some events coming up in this month. Tomorrow there's a session on learning monsoon photography. There's a session on, basically it's by a feature film editor who is going to take us through a movie scene and how a director, actor, cameraman, sound all come into it. Bonsai, he's the secretary of the Association of 5 countries, taking us for the bonsai. And Rakhi, if you want to make for your sibling. And yeah, I get you was pattern. So there's a lot of sessions this month. You can use the upcoming event section on our website to register. And yes, thank you again, everyone. And again, thank you, Sachin. This was awesome.
Thank you very much, Karan. Thank you, everyone, for attending, and be patient. It's a wonderful experience interacting with you guys.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Have a nice weekend, everyone. I'll see you all very soon.
Sure. Thank you, guys.